no grahanaya bharta vadanjasayad vrijinam tarema vadanjasayad vrijinam tarema. Hare Krishna. Before we recite, may I request everyone to please come little forward. So whoever comes for darshan, they can go at the back. Sorry, just for the next 3 days. Jnanam param swatmaraha prakasham provachakasmai bhagavan samagram apikshamam no grahanaya bhartar vadanjasayad vrijinam tarema. Jnanam param swatmaraha prakasham provachakasmai bhagavan samagram apikshamam no grahanaya bhartar vadanjasayad vrijinam tarema. Jnanam param swatmaraha prakasham provachakasmai bhagavan samagram apikshamam no grahanaya bhartar vadanjasayad vrijinam tarema. I'll read the word-to-word translation. Jnanam, knowledge. Param, supreme. Swa Atma, own self. Raha, mystery. Prakasham, enlightening. Provacha, said. Kasmai, unto Ka. Brahmaji. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Samagram, in sum total. Api, if so. Kshamam, able. Na, unto me. Grahanaya, acceptable. Bhartaha, O my Lord. Vada, say. Anjasa, in detail. Yat, that which. Vrijinam, miseries. Tarema, can cross over. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. My Lord, kindly explain to us, if you think us competent to receive it, that transcendental knowledge which gives enlightenment about yourself and which you explained before to Brahmaji. A pure devotee, purport, a pure devotee like Uddhava has no material afflictions because he engages constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. A devotee feels afflicted without the association of the Lord. Constant remembrance of the Lord's activities keeps the devotee alive, and therefore Uddhava requested that the Lord please enlighten him with the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam as previously instructed to Brahmaji. I'll recite the Mangalacharan. Please hear. You don't need to. Please don't sing together. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Kam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram. Tatsat. Hare Krishna. I'll read the translation again. My Lord, kindly explain to us, if you think us competent to receive it, that transcendental knowledge which gives enlightenment about yourself and which you explained before to Brahmaji. Hare Krishna. This is a verse recited by Uddhava to Lord Sri Krishna. You can move the pole. It's obstructing. This section is connected to 11th canto. In order for us to understand the chronology of the events that actually took place, it's important that we understand the connection between this section in 3rd canto to the section in 11th canto. So if you remember, after the yajna that is actually performed by the Yadus led by Vasudev, Krishna asks all the Yadus to go to a place called Pindaraka. Pindaraka is the place where, as part of the yajna process, they do the concluding portion of the rituals. So after doing the yajna in Dwaraka, Krishna asks all the descendants, Yadus as well as the descendants of Yadus, along with all the sages who are present there, led by Vishwamitra, it's mentioned Narada, Durvasa, all of them. He asks all of them to go to finish the concluding portion of the yajna process. Prabhupada actually says, even though karma kanda, it's actually done based on the scriptures aimed at getting some material benediction. Nevertheless, it is still recommended because the focal point of even karma kanda sacrifice is still Vishnu only. So in any case, be it for material or for spiritual, Prabhupada says it's always recommended to follow the Vedic scriptures. Of course, direct service is much more potent, much more beneficial than indirect service or slow gradual process. Karma kanda is very gradual. Initially somebody comes to worship the demigods and they take slow baby steps and they go from one demigod to the other. As and when they have some material requirement, they keep worshipping. But even though they worship the different demigods, the demigods can't directly take the yajna themselves. It has to go through Vishnu. That's why one name of Vishnu is Yagyesh. Yagna also technically refers to only Lord Vishnu. Yagya artat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. We study that in Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter. So any yajna, if it is actually performed, it has to be done for Vishnu only. Either you directly accept it or you indirectly accept it. Indirectly accepting is going to be very long-winded, time-consuming process. It may take multiple births for somebody to come to the position of getting liberated. Directly somebody doing, it's much more powerful. Prabhupada actually raises the bar even more, saying there is something even greater than actually performing yajna to even Vishnu, and that is to feed Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. So Prabhupada says, if somebody feeds Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, Krishna accepts that yajna. It's mentioned Krishna eats through the mouths of Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. Prabhupada explains. So yajna also, you install the fire, and then through the fire we actually offer food through the fire we offer our oblations, our offerings to the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So technically Vishnu is taking through that, through the mouth made of fire. But the same Supreme Lord, he also can actually eat through the mouths of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. And Prabhupada also says that it's not that in Kali Yuga, Prabhupada actually quotes, there's a reference in Varaha Purana that actually says the demons, they also appear rather as Brahmanas. So everyone who is born in Kali Yuga as Brahmanas, not everyone has got the Brahminical quality. Samo damas tapas chaucham. Shantir arjavam evacha jnana vijnanam astikyam brahma karma svabhavajam. Krishna says there has to be forbearance, tolerance, simplicity, everything, truthfulness and everything. These are the qualities of Brahmanas, or these are the qualities in which Brahmanas work. However, Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, according to Varaha Purana, even demons, they actually appear as Brahmanas. So not everyone who is claiming as Brahmanas, they are authentic Brahmanas, Prabhupada says. And because of that, Prabhupada says there is a class of Brahmanas who, despite their lack of qualification, in other words, despite them not being able to demonstrate these qualities, they still take to eating the prasad in the name of accepting the offering for Lord Vishnu as whole scale eaters, Prabhupada says. That is not bona fide. Okay, bona fide means compared to Karma Kanda, Yajna is better. Compared to Yajna, feeding Brahmanas and Vaishnavas is even better. And Prabhupada raises the bar saying, but who is a Brahmana or a Vaishnava? Then Prabhupada actually says, quoting the verse from Vishnu Puran, Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Brahmanya here refers to, Prabhupada says, Vaishnava. Vaishnava is already a Brahmana. Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. Janmana Jayate Shudra Samskaret Bhaved Vija Vedapatat Bhaved Vipra. Who knows the fourth line? Brahma Janatiti Brahmana. So who knows the Supreme Lord in his aspect as Brahman, he is Brahmana. But who is a Vaishnava? Somebody who knows Supreme Lord in his aspect as Bhagavan itself. So Prabhupada says, just like how a millionaire automatically possesses $100 and $1,000, similarly someone who has realized the Supreme Lord in its fullest complete form as Bhagavan, he has already realized Paramatma, he or she already has realized Brahman. So same way, somebody who is already accepting the Supreme Lord in his personal feature as Bhagavan, he has naturally accepted, realized Brahman, which also qualifies Vaishnavas by default as a Brahmana as well. So Brahmanya, Prabhupada says, it refers to both Brahmana Pandita and Brahmana Vaishnava. Okay, Brahmana Pandita or technically Karmakandis, Brahmana Vaishnava or not necessarily Brahmana Pandita or not necessarily Bhaktas rather. Okay, Brahmana Vaishnava, they are Vaishnavas. So after the Yajna finishes in Dwaraka, Krishna sends them there. It is in the place called Pindaraka. That's where during the concluding portion of that Yagic process, that's when the sons of Krishna, they disguise Samba as a pregnant woman and they place in front of the sages, putting forth this mocking question. Oh great sages, we would like to know which whether this pregnant woman would give birth to a male child or a female child. So then the sages, they then pronounce the curse that we don't know about the sex of the baby, but however, we can tell you this much, whoever Samba is going to give birth to, that will be the cause of destruction of your whole dynasty. So then, you know what happened after that. Then the club was, then when they unwrap the sari, they see a club there, gives it to Ugrasen. Ugrasen crushes into powder, throws it in the ocean. And then when Krishna later, when he comes to know that, Krishna tells them that because we have incurred the curse of the Brahmana, so let us actually go to this place called the Prabhasha Kshetra where we can counteract the curse. And that's how Krishna sends all the Yadus there, except it's mentioned, except the elderly men, women and children. Pretty much whole of the or rest of the Yadu clan, they were all sent to Prabhasha Kshetra. Now when Uddhava, when he hears about this, or rather as Uddhava observes this pastime unfold, Uddhava could actually sense that Krishna is planning to wind down or wind up his pastimes. Because the same Supreme Lord, you would actually see, same Supreme Lord could have counteracted the curse very, very easily. He could have, all he should actually say is, may this curse not come true. That's all. Satya Sankalpa. Whatever Krishna says becomes true. He could have. And so many times in the past, it's actually mentioned how, even from Shukadeva Goswami, you will find how he explains how even somebody who has died, son of his teacher, Sandipani Muni, he goes all the way to Yamaloka and brings him back. Actually, somebody who is already dead, Krishna is able to reverse that situation. Why can't Krishna reverse this situation wherein it's just a curse still? Even death hasn't happened. Even nothing has happened yet. It's just some, series of words that has actually come out. He can easily counteract that. But Krishna, having fulfilled his mission, he just chose to actually wind up his pastimes that way. So when Uddhava approaches Krishna, Krishna gives this confidential knowledge. You'll find in 11th canto, the elaboration of Bhagavad Gita, what we call as Uddhava Gita. Now after Krishna actually speaks Uddhava Gita to him, Krishna tells to Uddhava that I have been to so many places during my manifestation of these earthly pastimes for 125 years. However, I haven't actually gone to this place called Badrikashram, where my devotees are still awaiting my audience. So he tells Uddhava, as soon as within a week's time, everything is actually going to go underwaters, I will wind up the pastimes and pretty much you won't see anything here in Dwaraka. So Krishna tells to Uddhava to please leave Dwaraka and to go to Badrikashram for two reasons. One is Krishna wanted Uddhava to be protected from the onslaughts of Kali Yuga, influence of Kali Yuga, because Uddhava could also see the bad omens that were happening around. Plus he also observes this, so then he could understand that Kali Yuga is about to start. So Krishna, to protect Uddhava, he tells him, renounce everything, take sannyas, go to Badrikashram. That's one reason. Second, he says, you go there and you take the association of them also. And you share these instructions which I am giving to you, to them. And please convey my regards to all the devotees of Naranarayana Rishi. So they all go to Badrikashram. So, or rather, they all go to Prabhasha Kshetra. Now, even before they actually go to Prabhasha Kshetra, this whole conversation of Uddhava with Krishna, or Krishna with Uddhava, happens during the time when Yadus were making preparations to go to Prabhasha Kshetra. So then Uddhava approaches Krishna. You might have seen this pastime where Uddhava and Krishna, they both are alone. There is a book called Path of Perfection, the cover picture, beautiful picture. You will see Krishna and Uddhava offering prayers. So that's the Uddhava Gita setting. Krishna starts to recite instructions starting from the 24 gurus, and you will see Pingala Gita, all of that happens. So that happens in Dwaraka. After finishing giving him instructions in the 11th canto, Krishna tells Uddhava, now that you know what is about to unfold, you leave. So Krishna sends him straight away, and Uddhava leaves to Badrikashram. So as Uddhava is going to Badrikashram, along the way he hears that all the Yadus have actually gone, even Krishna has actually gone to Prabhasha. So now Uddhava, as soon as he hears that, he is again feeling pangs of separation from Krishna. He makes a U-turn and comes back again. Comes back to Krishna. So he goes back to Krishna. That is when this famous conversation happens again, wherein you would see Krishna leaning on his back against a banyan tree, just showing his four-handed form. And then we have Maitreya Rishi also standing a little further, and then you have Uddhava. So this setting is not when Uddhava Gita is spoken. This is the setting where Krishna actually imparts the whole knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam as it is requested by Uddhava here. So Uddhava hears Uddhava Gita, goes to Badrikashram. Along the way he hears that all the Yadus have gone to Prabhasha Kshetra. He makes a U-turn, comes back, and he meets the Lord in Prabhasha Kshetra. So there, in that setting, he is putting forth this question, or rather this request to the Lord, what we see in today's verse. So this is the second conversation, recorded conversation, where Uddhava is putting forth the questions. Secondary audience in this conversation is Maitreya Rishi. And Prabhupada actually explains, Maitreya is a Jnana Mishra Bhakta. Maitreya is a disciple of Parashara Muni. Parashara Muni is father of Vyasadeva. And Maitreya Rishi is also a contemporary of Vyasadeva. They both are friends, Prabhupada explains. But because he comes in the association, somehow, Prabhupada actually explains, he has acquired Agyata Shukriti. Even without his knowledge, somehow he has acquired qualification to be in the place along with Uddhava. Otherwise, getting personal association of the Supreme Lord is very, very rare, Prabhupada says. In fact, that is the perfection of Vaishnavas. Okay, somebody who practices Krishna consciousness throughout their life, when they attain pure bhakti, pure devotion, then they'll be awarded personal association of the Supreme Lord. However, Maitreya, despite him being Jnana Mishra Bhakta, he has devotion, but his devotion is not pure yet. It's mixed with Jnana, impersonal conception. So here, that's why Krishna is directly dealing with Uddhava, but then Maitreya is standing a little further down. And he is also hearing that conversation. So when Uddhava comes here, Uddhava says, my Lord kindly explained to us, here refers to him and Maitreya. If you think us competent to receive it, the transcendental knowledge which gives enlightenment about yourself and which you have explained before to Brahmaji. Brahma is a very, very intelligent personality. You will see whole Bhagavatam Krishna gives in just Chaturshloki form, 4 verses. He just picks up and he elaborates from that point. Same way with Gayatri Mantra. Simply a coded message he gets, he takes it, and then he elaborates the Gayatri Mantra into 14 planetary systems basically. So that's how intelligent Brahma is. A pure devotee like Uddhava, a pure devotee like Uddhava has no material afflictions because he engages constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. You see Garbhastuti. Shrinman grinan sam smarayamscha chintayan namani rupani cha mangalani te kriyashu yastva charana ravindayor avishya cheta na bhavaya kalpate. There the demigods actually pray to Krishna, whoever who is engaged in Shrinman, 4 activities. These 4 activities one should engage in as you do every other activity during the day. That could be, you may be walking, for example, or you may be washing your clothes, cleaning. Sometimes we have this question, chanting is Yuga Dharma, definitely. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. But when we do devotional service, or any other service other than chanting, is the devotional service giving us full benefit, or it is only giving part because we are not chanting while we are doing? Prabhupada says it's always best if we can chant Hare Krishna 24/7. Jayananda Thakur, he used to do, even when he was driving the car, simply to pay the rent for the temple, ISKCON's temple. But even as he was driving the car, it's actually direct devotional service. Nevertheless, he would still chant as he was driving. So in this particular verse, the demigods, they actually pray, Shrinvan, whoever during the course of their activity, during the course of the day, during so many different activities, if they engage in these 4 types of direct devotional service, Shrinvan, hearing, Grinan means chanting, Samsmarayan means Shrinvan, Grinan Samsmarayamscha Chintayan, Samsmarayam means remembering, Chintayan means contemplating. Okay, remembering means something that happened before you remember, you try to recollect. That's remembering. Contemplating means you go even more deeper in that remembrance. Okay, you try to understand a philosophical point, could be you think about the Supreme Lord also that way. Okay, Strinvan, Grinan, Samsmarayamscha Chintayan. So these 4 activities one should do while one is engaged in the course of the day doing any other activity. But what is one supposed to hear, recite, remember and contemplate? Namani, Rupani, cha Mangalani te. One should hear, recite, remember, contemplate on Namani, Rupani, on the holy name of the Lord, Rupani, on the beautiful form of Shri Radha Gopinath, cha Mangalani te. Mangalani te means simply by remembering this, one invokes all auspiciousness in one's life. Kriyashu yastva charanaravindayor. As one is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, in serving the lotus feet of the Lord, then avishya cheta na bhavaya kalpate. If one is able to do this, then such a personality, even though roaming around on the surface of the globe, they are not considered to be part of material creation, but they are already, na bhavaya means, bhava is material creation. They are no longer considered to be part of this material world. That's what it means. So here a pure devotee like Uddhava has no material afflictions because he engages constantly in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. A devotee feels afflicted without the association of the Lord. Now, if you see in 11th canto, Uddhava, when he approaches Krishna, Uddhava actually tells to Krishna, my Lord, simply by honoring your Mahaprasad, simply by wearing Mahagarlands, simply by wearing even your clothes, Uddhava used to wear, even his whole complexion is very dark. Simply by getting all of that, I don't feel material affliction. But devotees, Prabhupada says, devotees have only one affliction rather. And that is separation from the Lord. That is something devotees don't want to go through. They always want to be with the Supreme Lord. They always want to be with the Lord 24/7. Okay, Krishna also wants to be with them. You know, sometimes we study, we were discussing in the Krishna book class, how Krishna actually, does Krishna actually go to Mathura? Now, why does Krishna go to Mathura? To kill Kamsa. Now that brings the next question. Is Kamsa existing in spiritual world? Yes and no. It's mentioned Yogamaya, she is like the logistics manager. Tulsi Maharani, she has the logistics. Yogamaya is like the event manager. She creates tasteful arrangements so there is excitement for Krishna as well as for all the other gopas. So technically, even though Prabhupada actually explains, even though there are no demons in spiritual world, nevertheless, in order to add spice, in order to pep things up in that whole pastime, Yogamaya does bring Kamsa there. But unlike in Prakrita Leela, if you actually see where in Vrindavan, Kamsa was there even before Krishna was born, or Krishna appeared rather. And then Krishna goes to Gokula, and then Krishna comes back when he was 12 years, he comes back to Mathura to kill Kamsa. So in spiritual world, if you actually see, Kamsa is there, Kamsa isn't there rather. But Yogamaya, just at the moment when Krishna wants to kill Kamsa, at that time she will make him appear there. So he'll come, get killed, and then he'll go. So and how often does he actually appear? Many times. Repeatedly it's mentioned. So Krishna, every single time he feels like killing Kamsa, Yogamaya will immediately bring Kamsa to Mathura, and Krishna will leave. He'll go kill Kamsa, and then Krishna will feel separation, he'll again come back. Again he'll go, again he'll come back. Every single time it's mentioned, devotees they forget. Unlike in material pastimes, you will actually see, or rather, Bhu Vrindavan, not really material pastime. In Bhu Vrindavan, you will see how the cowherd boys, you will hear even Agasur, when Krishna kills Agasur, for example. After 1 year they come and narrate, you will see descriptions like that. But unlike in Bhu Vrindavan, in spiritual world, because the pastimes happen all the time, every single time it happens, devotees there, they forget about the pastime. They don't remember. Here it happens once, but there it happens many times. Kamsa gets killed many times. And every time Kamsa gets killed, or every time Kamsa has to be killed, Akrura comes and he keeps taking Krishna again and again and again. So there is separation. But this separation is actually, even though, reason why I'm saying that is, devotees they feel very deeply afflicted with pangs of separation. That's the only thing which they don't want to experience in their ecstasy. However, Krishna does that simply to enhance their ecstasy. Okay, just a little bit. Just like, sometimes there is one pastime where Prabhupada, he is playing with baby Saraswati. So she used to play with one small Krishna doll. So one day Prabhupada takes that and he hides it behind. And baby Saraswati is going everywhere, asking her mother, Malati Mataji, did you see Krishna? Then, no, we don't, I didn't see the doll. Then she goes asking everyone in the room. And at one point she's feeling so much separation from the doll, she started to, her eyes started to tear. And she was going, asking everyone. And then suddenly Malati Mataji tells to baby Saraswati, Saraswati, who has Krishna? Little baby. She immediately understands, Prabhupada has Krishna. Then she comes to Prabhupada and then she asks Prabhupada, Prabhupada, do you have Krishna? And then Prabhupada brings the doll. So separation between Krishna and devotees is not something which Krishna wants, it's not something which devotee want either. However, Krishna does that simply to enhance it. Just like in this pastime, Prabhupada took it away to bring out the best intense emotion, yearning for Krishna. So same way, Krishna knows that the best time when love, or the best time when sambhoga, rasa, when the union, the mellow of getting union with the Lord is actually experienced to its peak when there is a separation. Just after separation, you will actually have that. Suddenly, let us say, the power goes in this room, power goes off. So, okay, the room will be plunged in darkness. As soon as the power comes back, at that moment, there will be more appreciation for us. So same way, Krishna, in order to keep on enhancing this feeling of sambhoga, this feeling of union, when they come together, in order to enhance that, Krishna temporarily keeps on creating that separation. And it's mentioned the pastimes is so intense that even Krishna, according to his own arrangement, he even forgets also. He makes Yoga Maya to influence him like that. So even Krishna forgets that he has already killed Kamsa. As much as devotees also forget. In spiritual world it's mentioned. So every single time Krishna actually does anything, it is fresh. So you'll never feel bored, and every single time it's like a repeat movie. You rewind and then come back. Akrura also doesn't feel bored to take Krishna every single time. And devotees also, they feel so much separation, and then Krishna comes to Mathura, kills Kamsa, and then he goes back. So there are no demons, but Yoga Maya, she makes that arrangement to summon the demon. Similar arrangement it's actually given when during Ras Leela, if you actually see where the gopis sometimes, due to feeling separation from Krishna, they some of them they enact pastimes of Krishna, how Krishna killed Putana, how Krishna killed Trinavarta, so on and so forth, you see in the pastime. Now if you look at the rasa of the gopis, their rasa is in Madhurya, okay, in conjugal love. So for that, if you actually see them having to enact something which is really, passionate tamogun characters like demons, it's like rasabas. You can't even call it rasabas actually. It's a complete mismatch there. But they still want to remember Krishna that way. So Yoga Maya makes that arrangement by suddenly importing gopis to enact the role of each of the different demons actually. So when we read in, let's say in 10th canto, where some gopis, they remembered, suddenly one gopi acted like a Putana, another one acted like Trinavarta, another gopi went and acted as if they they killed the demons like that. But even those gopis also, they were temporarily actually created by Yoga Maya simply to enhance the pastime, with that to enact that that demoniac pastime. So normally gopis don't remember, they don't act in that way. But in order simply to enhance that pastime, Yoga Maya creates that gopis who act like demons. Not really demons, they are still gopis, but they enact that pastime, which the normal gopis don't do. Okay, like that it's given. So here everything, if you actually see, a devotee feels afflicted without the association of the Lord. Constant remembrance of Lord's activities keeps the devotee alive, and therefore Uddhava requested that the Lord please enlighten him with the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam as previously instructed to Brahmaji. In spiritual world we have everything available. Of course even there is separation, but that separation is something which is part of the plan, which is part of the enjoyment there, which is made by Yoga Maya, made by Krishna. But in our sadhaka platform, we all are in sadhana, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti platform, we are not in a position to experience pure devotional service. However, based on our capacity, we still develop some appreciation for Krishna. Like for example, we come here, take darshan of Shri Radha Gopinath. Okay, you may be going on book distribution, or you may go home, for example. Devotees staying in congregation, they come take darshan and you go. Ours is not in pure devotional platform. Nevertheless, we can still log into Mayapur TV, for example, or you can have a photo of Radha Gopinath and you can keep looking at it. Something that will make us remember about our union with the Lord all the time. Okay, this is happening in material world. So in material world, because we are in material world, and because the soul is actually sleeping inside, the soul, every single time we actually chant it awakes. However, due to our conditioned nature, the mind always keeps pulling us down. So in order to keep ourselves connected with the Krishna, then we have to do by all these means, through these instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam, through reading, through hearing, through chanting the holy name of the Lord, so on and so forth. And as we were discussing, there is no tragic end in scriptures. Madhurena samapayat, it's mentioned. Any Vedic scripture is supposed to leave a taste of sweetness, actually, when it finishes. And they lived happily ever after. That's how it is. So even though material world as such, when we are born, it's a very tragic story, actually, in material world. Okay, there's always one challenge after the other. There's always one difficulty after the other. This is how it will be. You may go to a job, have one challenge there, and then you go to the other, hoping that things will be different, only to find actually, many times it will make us think that actually the previous job was much better, like that. Okay, it goes from bad to worse, many instances, almost all the instances, that's how it is. But whereas in spiritual world, even though scriptures, they actually tell us the current situation that we are in, which we ourselves invited. Nevertheless, because we have taken up to this path of Krishna consciousness, just like how in the pastimes of pure devotees, pastimes of gopis, pastimes, any pastime you come across in Srimad Bhagavatam, you will never come across a Bhagavatam story that will tell you to be continued, ... You won't come across like that. There will always be a happy ending. Okay, there will be difficulty. The difficulty some devotees will go through for so many years. Like, you take Manigriva and Nalakuvera. Okay, it may seem, or even if you take Ashwatthama, it may seem like a endless ordeal for eternity, but actually it's not. Because Krishna is very, very merciful, even if somebody goes to hellish planet, nobody can stay in hellish planet forever. That's not possible. Okay, they'll still climb up at some point of time after they, finish up their bad karma. Same way, even if somebody goes to, heavenly kingdom, like that. So anything that we have in this world, in whichever situation we may be in, which means it's negative situation, whichever point we actually start Krishna consciousness, from that point onwards, we can run towards this Madhurena Samapayat, wherein that happy ending is waiting somewhere. We don't know where. Okay, like Vishwamitra didn't know where his happy ending was when he was going through that ordeal with, initially doing 10,000 years tapasya, then losing his tapobal, and then doing another 1,000 years again tapobal, trying again and again and again. But nevertheless, he come. Same way, Manigriva and Nalakuvera, the time when they were cursed to be born as tree, they just know in future sometime they will see Krishna. But that faith alone is actually enough for them to continue on, meditate on the Lord, contemplate on the Lord. Okay, so same way, when we are in this platform of forgetfulness, being in material platform, avidya, kama karma bhi, any activity that we do, it's based on avidya only. However, Prabhupada says, if we practice this process of Krishna consciousness, what happens is, Prabhupada is saying, because soul is very pure, soul came and acquired tamagun and rajogun, but by practicing Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says, it will give up, it will gradually acquire the mode of goodness, and then from there it will go to Shuddha Sattva platform. Okay, so whoever takes up to this process of Krishna consciousness, there is always a happy ending. Even here also Uddhava, temporarily, yes, he is separated from the Lord, but if you continue with the pastime, he goes to Badrikashram, meets Naranarayana Rishi, associates with the devotees, and then it's mentioned he attains perfection, and guess what he does? Ashamaho charanareno jusamaham syam vrindavane kim api gulma lato shadinam Yadhyustajam svajanam arya patam chahitva bejur mukunda padavim shrutibir vimrigyam. This was his desire. May I be born. Vrindavane kim api gulma. Gulma is like bush or shrubs. Lata is like a devotional creeper. Oshadi, herb. May I be born either as a bush or as a creeper or as Oshadi. Oshadi is like a herb, medicinal herb. And he gets awarded that supreme position. So from there, then he goes to Vrindavan. It's just a temporary separation, but then he goes to Vrindavan. He's in Kusum Sarovar, you will see. So like that. So any difficulty, even in the path of Krishna consciousness, which we may face, we should understand that this is again just a temporary setback, or it may even be Krishna's arrangement also. We were discussing the other day. The most intelligent prayer which we can offer is the one by Prithu Maharaj. Simply by repeating that prayer, we can make the best possible offering to the Supreme Lord. My dear Lord, just like how a little child wouldn't demand anything, but instead the parents themselves, they understand what's the needs of the little child and they offer. Similarly, my Lord, you please offer whatever you think is best for me. That way, we can be completely confident that whatever that happens in our life, Krishna is in control of that, and whatever that happens in our life, it's only arrangement of Krishna. And if my desire gets, if I may think something, if Krishna blesses that, fantastic, that's his mercy. If Krishna doesn't actually answer my prayer in a specific way that I actually want, that's also good. That's Krishna's protection, because Krishna knows if he fulfills that, then that may actually stop our Krishna consciousness. That may make a big obstacle on our path of progress towards Goloka Vrindavan. So that way we can simply be surrendered to Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, offer their prayers and simply ask for this selfless, pure devotional service. And may that alone be our prayer, may that alone be our meditation, and may that eternal service at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, may that alone be the perfection and goal of our life. I'll finish there. Any question? Comments?
The conversation between Maitreya and Guru.
Good question. So what happens is, Uddhava, he sees Krishna, again, second time, him and Maitreya, they both hear the same instructions as this verse actually says. Uddhava is requesting the Lord to please impart the same transcendental knowledge which he gave to Lord Brahmaji at the dawn of creation. So Krishna gives them the knowledge. As soon as he hears, he immediately, and Krishna asks him to leave. This time he goes to Badrikashram. Along the way, he actually meets, so both of them live. Maitreya lives along with Uddhava, but there is some distance between them. So as he was actually heading there, during that time, Maitreya also, or rather Vidura also comes to know about Kurukshetra past time, what happened to Krishna, everything. Then he is running towards the Lord, and then along the way only he meets Uddhava, and he asks, how is everyone doing? So then Uddhava discloses the message that Supreme Lord, he has wind up his pastime, and he has taken all his associates back. So at that time, Maitreya, so then Uddhava actually tells to, Uddhava tells to Vidura that the Supreme Lord was remembering you. And it's mentioned when Vidura came to know that the Supreme Lord, even at the time of him winding the pastime, remembered him, he goes into ecstasy. He gets choked how much the Supreme Lord is remembering him. He is also a Mahabhagavat, one of the 12 Mahajans, not in the form of Vidura, in the form of Yamaraj. Vidura is Yamaraj. So then he asks Uddhava to share that knowledge, and Prabhupada actually explains Maryada Vyatikrama, you will see. There Vidura tells to Maitreya that, or rather to Uddhava tells to Vidura to please go and ask Maitreya to hear the message, because Prabhupada actually says in the assembly of Vaishnavis, one should never be too eager to speak unless they are actually requested to. One's mood should always be simply to hear. So in this case, Uddhava, yes, even though he is a more pure devotee, he is a pure devotee compared to Maitreya, nevertheless in age he is very, very elderly, Maitreya, so he actually defers Vidura to go and meet Maitreya to get the knowledge actually. So that's the continuation, and then Uddhava continues. So that's how it's actually given here. It's Uddhava Gita is the section that Krishna spoke to Uddhava in Dwaraka. What here we are discussing is when Uddhava is actually going to Krishna again, he is asking him to elaborate, because the first time he heard, he goes, his mind is still disturbed. Instructions are there, just like Arjuna, you'll see. I mean, Arjuna is a Nitya Siddha. It's not the appropriate example here. Like ourselves, okay, you may be confused, for example, in our conditional stage. We may be confused on something, we may ask our spiritual master or some senior devotees. They may impart us some knowledge. So, okay, yes, it's clear, so we go. But then after some time we get confused. Then we come back to the same devotee and ask for further clarification. That's exactly what happened for Uddhava. Uddhava, he heard Uddhava Gita fully. And then he was going. Then again, he was feeling separation from the Lord, obviously. So then he comes to Supreme Lord again. Supreme Lord gives him knowledge again. This time it's mentioned his heart was very much at peace. And then he then lives for Badrikashram that way. Okay, so, but technically what we see in the 11th canto is Uddhava Gita is not this section. That's the personal conversation between Krishna and Uddhava alone. That is separate. But what we see here is what Uddhava heard second time, which is in fact, this whole 3rd, 4th, 5th canto, you can actually see in many cases is an answer to this particular verse, where he is actually requesting. See, my Lord, kindly explain to us, if you think us competent to receive it, that transcendental knowledge which gives enlightenment about yourself and which you explained to Brahmaji. This is what Krishna is telling to Uddhava and Maitreya. And then Maitreya is going to elaborate, is going to explain that to Vidura, which forms the 3rd, 4th and 5th canto actually. Okay, so this is the conversation which is depicted in that beautiful picture. Krishna leaning, displaying 400 form. And there is Uddhava and there is Maitreya there. So this is the second conversation. This is not really the Uddhava Gita section of 11th canto. Okay, this is the second conversation, but same repetition of the knowledge which Krishna gave to Brahmaji. Any other question or comment? Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagavan ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaveda Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, just a quick announcement. As most of you are aware of the new COVID restrictions, just for 3 days, today, tomorrow and day after, started actually yesterday evening, goes till midnight of Sunday. Mask is compulsory unless you are singing or giving or leading the singing or giving class. Singing is only for the in-house residents, because singing is not open for public, for congregation as per the restrictions. And mask is compulsory when you are inside the temple, and the temple will be open from 8 a.m. onwards till 9:15 p.m. We'll still have our regular classes. So tomorrow morning we'll still have the scripture class. Tomorrow evening we are starting the new Bhagavad Gita class given by Sankirtan Narottam Prabhu. It starts at 6 p.m. We'll still continue with that, and on Sunday evening also we'll have the 2 Sunday feast classes in addition to our regular morning Bhagavatam classes also. Okay, so classes will continue. Aratis also will happen. It's just that during Aratis we won't be singing Kirtan, unfortunately, because the public will be there, but then according to restrictions we can't sing. So only time when we actually sing Kirtan during Aratis for the morning program, that's why it's not open for public. But from 8 a.m. onwards it's open for public. But any time if you happen to come to the temple during the day, during Arati times, please do not sing. We have to follow the law of the land strictly. So that's the restrictions as it stands now. And if there is any other change after 3 days, we will let you know, but this is how it is. So regular classes will still go on. Tomorrow morning scripture class, tomorrow evening the new Bhagavad Gita class, normal Bhagavatam classes, as well as the Sunday evening feast classes will go as per schedule. Okay, it's just that Kirtan alone is not happening, and mask is compulsory inside. Okay, we'll still be serving the prasadam. You can take it in the car park like that. Okay, thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
also was wondering how come there's Uddhava Gita and then this